Welcome to WrAIth, presented by Block of Horror. Here on WrAIth, we're diving into the latest AI tools as we craft chilling horror stories, characters, and concepts. We invite you to learn, share, and collaborate live with us. Now, AI may seem like a terrifying monster to many. We get it. But we're here to tame that technological beast. Alrighty, and we're back with WrAIth. Chris, how you doing, man?
Beautiful, bro. Another day in paradise, my man. How are you?
Another day in AI horror story paradise. It's so crazy just to kind of open this up, Chris. Beyond what we're getting into today with AI featured video usage and music that we're going to get into, let's kind of talk briefly about, like, is there anything the latest what's hit the airwaves as far as AI, kind of like what people are talking about, what kind of new hot thing is, just to give anyone that's kind of out of the loop an update as to good, bad, ugly, anything you've picked up on recently.
Yeah, I mean, this past week has been kind of huge. One thing that came out is Adobe Max is going on right now, and the big thing that come out of Adobe Max is they announced the generative video tools that are coming to Premiere. Most likely also to After Effects, but Premiere being more widely used, it was given the main stage. What was particularly interesting about that is not only did they have a Firefly model that is able to do generative fill, generative expand, and stuff like that, they also featured that they will be using not just Firefly, but Sora from OpenAI and Pika from Pika Labs and Runway from Runway ML,
Oh, wow.
where you will have an option to use any of them for
Wow.
basically anything you want to do. And it's in interface. It's not it's not a plugin. It's not something you have to
Okay.
go get. It's going to be part of the flow. They haven't said how they're going to do credit systems and stuff like that, but they, just the fact that they're integrating something like Sora at this point kind of shows you where space is going in a lot of ways, especially Premiere being Premiere. It's a very professional
Cool.
tool.
Let
You know?
let's get a link drop for that. Maybe Mike can get that going.
Oh yeah.
Just in the chat for anybody that's looking wants to look deeper into that. But Chris, that sounds fantastic. Just from a integration perspective, ease of use, especially for a user, novices out there that are learning this technology as it kind of develops in hyperspeed. But yeah, is that final big picture thought on AI, or did you have anything else that you thought would be worth kind of bringing up?
I mean, we're going to go through music tonight. So there's one of the generators we're going to be using is brand new to the scene. It's and it kind of hails back to something I was saying one of our first live streams. But just the final thing on the Adobe thing is what's going to be really cool is all the things that we had all been waiting for a year plus with video AI. Everyone is going to get a la carte, and going to get it in a way that we still don't have it in a lot of ways. And you'll see with the tools that we'll be using, where when Adobe does this, it's going to be a very different situation. But yeah, that's let's get into it whenever.
Okay, cool. Well, tonight we're picking up kind of ish where we left off last week, where we started to experiment with some AI video based on some AI image inspiration from the episode before, and we kind of landed in this general vicinity, Chris, where more or less there's King Arthur, it's medieval times, there's a lady on a lake. There's some, someone brought up an interesting idea, Chris, that maybe we run with tonight. If we're interested in it, is maybe the lady in the lake is, just want to make sure I say it right, is the daughter of Merlin. Could be an interesting concept, and maybe had some daddy issues and vowed to destroy everything to get revenge on her dad, Mr. Merlin, which could explain her power source. Maybe she's kind of a demigod, so to speak, if Merlin is a version of a god in this world, or devil, demon, what have you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Obviously we could kind of play it any direction. And something as a reminder to all of our listeners and followers is if you have ideas, you want to add to this, if something spurs an idea, any kind of creation or an image or video, if you're on Midjourney or, wherever, Stable Diffusion, feel free to share them, in text, image, whatever you have. We want to kind of showcase kind of like that live communal inspiration as we develop things too for fun. So yeah, that as a starting point, based on our previous, videos we came up with last time and that kind of framework, how do you feel about that as kind of a starting point to figure out some more of the granular pieces that could fill into?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I have an idea of where we could take that. Um, yeah, so kind of what I wanted to do tonight to just see, and this is a good idea to do this with is I'm going to use what's called automatic 1111, which is like it's one of the more professional tools in the space. It's open source still, but it's not an easy to use tool. It's not Midjourney. It's not any of the tools we've gone over before. I've shown it on the stream before, but not really utilized it in a way that we're going to kind of show it tonight. And I think what that'll do is it's kind of show you how I do this. We've been doing for the last 2 months, we've been making videos using WrAIth, and we've pitched a music video to a major label recently. We have a video on YouTube right now that's just past 15K views called Fall of Tataria. And it's all this environment that we've been doing in this Nax plus AI. So it's kind of why I think it would be really cool to try it. And I think it's something that with this type of story, it's a great idea. Because I already kind of have an idea of where we would go. So yeah, I think we can get into
I
that.
love it. Yeah, whatever you need to kind of kick that up, get it started. And if you want to source the community for any kind of, hey, honestly, anything, while we're getting things to load, there's
Mhm.
ancillary things that we can, as a collective, kind of start to discover. I know we flirted with some names previously, but now that we have a little more context, do we need to name this protagonist? Do we need to give a little more backstory? Do we want to run with this idea that she's kind of like the long lost daughter of Merlin, perhaps? Other characters that we want to focus on for tonight's episode to develop. I'll leave it up to you, Chris. Like, how are you feeling as far as direction to help
Well,
have the audience help us?
what I think would be cool is because the way video generators work, if you have like really big scenes that are just kind of cinematic and you
Mm,
could do really basic things with, you could get some stories across. And
mm,
so how I feel is kind of like we could develop this idea of King Arthur and kind of show him in his kind of element where he's at, like in Camelot. But this is a different Camelot. This is not the Camelot that
mhm,
many would know. And then I think we could do kind of this Lady in the Lake as something like Lancelot or one of the members of the Round Table encounters, and it's not the Camelot, the Arthur of old, where the Lady of the Lake gives
mm,
Arthur the power to be, Arthur, or this, there's a sword in the stone, the Lady in the Lake. There's all the different mythologies that go with that. But I
mhm,
think maybe we go on the reverse, where she is this like vengeful, because we had her in water and she's Lady of the Lake. She's this vengeful, like swamp being,
mhm,
where this alluring stuff. Like we started playing with those images a little bit last time. Actually, the one of the videos that, yeah. So we were kind of playing in this realm of like this weird. But I'm going to go a little bit. We're going to go a little bit more photorealistic, just to kind of get this cinematic feel of things. So it's one of those things that I think we'll encounter that, and then as we go along, we can make that whole like Daughter of Merlin thing. That's a single shot,
mm,
and that's kind of the thing I think we're going to go for tonight. Maybe make like a 20-second video that's a lot of like single shots telling a story. And then
mm,
while we do that, we'll also just kind of talk about music, which we could generate things as we're talking about. This is going to be cinematic and soundtrack like. So we'll get some interesting stuff out of it for sure. I've done
mm.
this on audio generators as well. So there's some power here, I have to say.
Yeah, yeah,
So what
yeah.
like I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Let's kick into it. So, Yeah. So what do you, anything you need from us, or do you just kind of want to put in some prompts, see what we get, like a starting point, and then go from there?
Yeah.
Whatever you
So
think from a leadership perspective.
what
Yeah.
we're like this, the way I do this when I'm trying to build something is I do prompt building. I
Mm,
do it easier in this program just because I know how things work. So like, so what we do is we have file folder open. I had already done a zombie King Arthur, just thinking that was kind of a direction. I don't know. It could be a nightmare he has.
I love it. And hey, there's no, especially because, just for like the audience sake, you know, we're going medieval. Obviously, it's horror. There's a world where like we blend in different genres within the horror sphere of this medieval universe, right? Like
Mhm.
your Merlin could be sorceress, demonic force. You could have an outbreak of zombie apocalypse, as a part of that ethos. Like, so to me, there's still like no rules because we haven't really, pared it down yet. So if you feel that, if you feel that direction going, I say run with it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Let's see. And so Auto 1111, the way it works is it runs locally on my machine. Now we have Lightning models, so things take seconds instead of minutes.
Mm.
And it's really fantastic, and it should be.
And just for the third graders like myself out there, so say the program again and how we could as users get this program on our computer to utilize.
Sure. So Automatic 1111 is an open source project that's based off of Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion, they're the open source, like kind of, giant of AI. They make language models, they make audio models. In fact, that reminds me, they do have also an audio model
Oh,
that I will be opening in a moment. But they have a lot of different models, and I have been an Automatic 1111 user since it was
mm,
able to run on my
that's right.
first machine. And that's the kind of kicker. There are ways of running this in the cloud. It's if you go to if you search Automatic 1111, you'll find the GitHub. The GitHub has all the information, all the various things that you could do, how to run it in the cloud and such like that. So you can do those things. It's a learning curve. It is a steep learning curve. It is not a very friendly program to use, as you could just see in front of you. This is not this. None of this is friendly. Like, I only know this because I've done this for so long, but it is the least friendly program to use. And then understanding when things change and when things break. Like right now, the
Mm,
images don't show in the UI because it's always on the cutting edge. I always try and do the nightly, so sometimes things break. Things break, like sometimes the images don't show up in the UI. But the prompt that I just put in, let me see if I double click this, what it's going to do. Beautiful. All right. This
mm,
is interesting. Now, this is the other part about Automatic 1111 is this looks really cursed, but it's mostly because we didn't put any negative prompts in. We didn't really kind of put
mm,
any detail to this. We kind of let it just play and see
mm,
what we could get out of it. Like, this is pretty nice. It's cinematic. It's interesting, but I think we can go further with it. But yeah, so you go to GitHub, you either use it in the cloud or you use it locally. You have to download models. You have to understand what models are.
mm,
um, it's expansive. However, the other parts of this, like that I'll be able to show tonight, is there's things in this bottom section right here, that it does things like face replace
mm,
and character consistency, and a thing also here called XYZ plot, which is literally my favorite
mm,
thing in the world. So I could take anything from this prompt up here and I could
mhm.
put it into something like XYZ plot, and I could have it vary across. So if I
Ah,
wanted to say, instead of King Arthur in his court, I could put Black Panther in his court,
mm,
and I can run a series on those. I could do this in his court and run a series on those, and just let it run and walk
mm,
away. And it will just run for as many times and as many count as I want it to do.
mm.
It's one of those things that is exceptionally powerful. And then there's just the extensions, which I don't even, that's not even a long list. I have a very light amount of extensions. And this is just stuff you could add on. It is insane what this could do. Um,
Wow.
so
Well, and
that's
one thing that sticks out just from a layman's perspective, i.e., me, is being able to potentially use an image is like a face, right? And populate that face in different circumstances for, obviously, if you're telling a story that's, continuity wise necessary.
Mhm.
So because a lot of the programs so far I've experienced don't really do that. Like that's not really an option to really, keep the consistency of something and then sprinkle that consistency into something else. That's a little more difficult, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, this is the technology that does this really hasn't changed much since the inception of this. What's
Mm,
kind of changed is the way you interact with it.
mm,
Because I was just talking to somebody about this recently. The people that made all the models to improve faces and make all this thing happen, they still are around. They still exist. They are still the
mm,
original tech. It's only like version 1.4 or 1.6. It's not very long in this thing's history. So what is cool about this is all those texts work in the program itself.
mm,
And if I went a little safer with my builds, which is something I should probably do if I'm going to be live streaming, but if I went a little safer with my builds, you get to see more of the way that people traditionally are using it. I just like the cutting edge of things, just
mm,
because there's just something you can get out of it that is just cool. And it's just a matter of everything's all about learning. Everything's all about trying different things and trying new
mm.
things. So it's one of those. Oh yeah, so I did that. That was it. Also, it will correct you if you do something wrong, but won't tell you why because it's that ridiculous. So I've got to like turn things off just for them to go do what
I
I want
see.
them to do. So, but yeah, so it's a really powerful tool. But what I think it'll help is show people like a process that I use. Like this
Mm,
is how I pitch to a major label. I use this program to ideate and make images, and then I put them through the other two video programs, and just kept
mm.
chugging. But there's a lot of cool things. It's a really awesome situation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So, and that's the thing. Like this is not a bad portrait. The eyes are, oh, sorry.
Ooh.
The eyes are not too far off. Like, this is something that could definitely be improved upon. Fingers are a little messed up.
Mm,
But this is a good starting point. And this is what I mean by prompt building. Let's build this guy first. We'll build King Arthur so we can use the face feature and while we're also
mm,
doing other things. So this is drawn. I would really like this to be photorealistic. So, you put things like illustrated, hand drawn, let's keep it at that, and then portrait. And for this, I'm gonna go with a camera. So I'm gonna go with a Nikon D800,
mm,
just because sometimes what that does, certain DSLRs, they'll give you a kind of look, a particular
mm,
look, depending on where they are in the training. And it's one of those things. We just added a few words. Let's see how photoreal it gives us.
mm.
And then we'll go to some music stuff. We'll start talking about that because we'll see how this goes. We'll let this generate a few while we go talk about music stuff. So it'll give us some options to play with, and whichever King Arthur we like, that's already good.
Mm.
You see, like now we have
Oh
a
wow,
much
yeah.
more photorealistic face, and
Mm.
now we can tell the AI what we don't like, and that's kind of a
Mm.
key to this program is
I
you
love
kind
that.
of tell it what you don't want.
Mm,
And so let's say we wanted him to have, we didn't want him to have blonde hair.
mm.
And let's let this ride for a minute. Let's let this go 6. We'll have 6
Wow.
generations.
Okay. Mm,
And that's the thing, like there's all these sliders are so crazy what they do. And there's even more options to this. There's training. You
mhm.
could train your own models. You could train your own data. You can
Wow.
do whatever you want. That's why a lot of people use this. But
Mm,
yeah, so we're going to let this run for a little bit, and we'll talk about some other stuff that we have going on. So hit generate. That should just go. So music is kind of the thing that I was really excited we'll get to speak about tonight. And the reason why is because especially today, music has been blowing up. Let me just get stable audio up, because how did I forget that stable audio exists? I've been a stability maxi for so long. and I forgot. I don't even. That's the thing. I just totally forgot.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Wow.
so it's. Let's go to something a little darker. There we go. So there's now there used to only be 3. Now there's about 4 big names, solid 4 big names right now in generative music. And that's only as far as like the stuff that's more commercial. That's not talking about open source. There's things like Refusion, and there's other music gen models that definitely are great for hosting locally and experimenting with. But the big stuff is happening in the cloud. So we're going to start with probably the one that we're going to get the least amount of mileage out of, but it's still one of the biggest. So this is called Music Effects. Music Effects is made by Google. Google is one of the bigger names in the space as far as music generation, because this was out before Imagen, before anything regarding Gemini, any of the stuff you've heard about with Google. This was out before it. We were all testing this for a long time. It has 2 modes. One is DJ mode, which if you do host live spaces and stuff, it's really cool to just let this roll. You could type in a whole bunch of different types of music and do some cool things. Let's actually, since we are live, let's see what happens. So what do you feel like? Like cinematic? Should we go over that, or you feel it a party vibe? What do you think?
I mean, honestly, I think we should go with the theme of the content that we're trying to build. Like, give me some like medieval vibes, like some kind of like castle, lady by the lake. I don't know, like gives us a little ominous.
Medieval. What drums? Medieval drums.
Ooh, drums are good. Horns, maybe like light horns, not too intense. But
let's drop all this down because I'd like to take these. Oh yeah, let's take all these out. Let's start from scratch.
Yeah. A windy night in the forest.
Let's start with MIDI. So the way this works, it's really cool, is it works in stems. You're able to give it instruments in layers and then also start to play with this. So in DJ mode, this is really cool because you could change the vibe in a second, which is just awesome. It's just so cool to be able to do that. So going with the theme, let's see if we were a DJ in King Arthur's court. What are you playing? So let's start with some medieval drum. Let's see what happens. So let's start this up. Let's see what it gives us. Oh. Oof. Hold on. So that's where it starts. That's a little aggressive. How was that for you? Was that loud?
Oh, I don't know if we heard it.
Okay, hold on.
To be honest,
let me just make sure. I'd also, if anyone can give me a thumbs up if they heard that. Let's see how the audio is looping through.
So you're sharing a tab, so you should be able to punch through, I believe.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. No, screen is good. Let's see. Let me stop sharing and then reshare, and let's see if there's any audio things that I missed. Just give me 1 second. Okay, and then let's present. Share screen. Oh, yeah, I did. I don't think I turned on share audio. Yep. Okay, there we go. So entire screen, also share system audio. There you go. So that will help. To bongo. There we go. Got it. Okay, so we should be able to hear this now. Let's see. So this is a little aggressive, so it's going to get a little loud. Just giving you, a heads up, because I didn't expect this to be so loud, and it blasted in my ears. Well, ear. Sorry. Not exactly medieval.
Not quite medieval. Intense.
So let's drop this down. So let's say, Gregorian chants. Somber Gregorian chants. Let's start with something that's a little bit of vocals. So that's about somber wrong. Let's turn this off. Let's turn this Oh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Could
Okay,
work
so
with
that's
that.
a
Yeah.
good start. It's a good start. Let's see, maybe starting off the night, you're having some mead with King Arthur, and you're just like, let's just go start with some chill music. And then and that's the thing, you build on it from there. So you could do like orchestral. Of course, Karen's watching, so I got to watch my spelling. Orchestral horns, low. Let's add that. Let's see what starts happening when we start doing some stuff. That's pretty epic. That's insane. Oh, that was intense, I have to say. Yeah.
Evil bit suffer.
So let's let's see what let's just see what medieval does. Just to play. So we're gonna add medieval. We're gonna jack it up real high. I'm gonna turn these way down. Let's see what just medieval could evolve. Totally medieval, bro. That's medieval.
I guess so. Wait,
So
and
this is what is interesting about this. Like, this is a tool that not a lot of people use, but it's a lot of fun. So that's the DJ mode. There's also just the music generation mode. So what you do with music generation is you prompt it kind of the same way you'd prompt an image generator. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to try and see if it'll really understand what I'm asking for, which is somber medieval chamber music from King Arthur's court. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it does. Let's generate. This is usually pretty quick, so I don't know if we'd have to jump to something else just yet. Yeah, it's pretty quick. Google's got a lot of infrastructure, so this should be easy for them, But this was one of the first ones we all got to use, beside Riff Fusion and stuff like that. Not bad. Now they give you two each time. So let's see what the second one does, and let's see if it's better. Very, very somber, very medieval, and what's cool about music effects is they give you like these other ways of like kind of fucking with this. So like one of the things, you could turn that into an electronic song and then generate it. And so they would take essentially every other element that you just tried to generate, and they're like, well, how do we add electronic? Like, what if this was King Arthur's court in like a cyberpunk universe, and the Lady of the Lake was really like, a hacker that was trying to get into the main database of Camelot and is trying to undo the harm of the other hacker. What's his wizard's name?
Merlin.
I like the little tap on the hi-hat. That's so funny. But like, that's the thing. Like, if Guinevere was a double agent, she's going into a room to go help like the Lady of the Lake, and she's hacking into the system in this cyberpunk universe, and all of a sudden like this song just starts like, it could be, let's see with this one. Let's try the second one, and then we'll move on to something that's a little more fun. No, just no. Just all the no. That was terrible. So, and that's another thing. You always want to give data where data is worth it. So I didn't like that one. That is not even close to what the first one was. But, that's music effects. If you're somebody that like really wants to play and try some stuff out, you also just host live spaces and you like a DJ mode. It's really cool. There's no credits, there's no nothing. You just use it. And that's AI Test Kitchen with Google. It's this spot up here. I could probably put it in one of the chats. Is that something I should do?
Yeah, you could just copy paste it into the private chat on StreamYard. Would probably be easiest for you.
Bamsy. There you go. So that's that one. Use it, abuse it. It's Google, so use it to the max. The settings are really cool. You can do a lot of things, like you can extend the track length to like 70 seconds, and you can have it be looped where it's not going to loop, but it'll generate in a way that it'll be loopable within any program you use, whatever length you put in. You can also share natively. There's seeds if you like something a certain way. Like if I like this song that much and I really wanted it to do it again, but try a different, some terminology, totally possible. Really, really awesome program. Definitely recommend it. Now the other one is the big boy on the block. Actually, let's go to Stable Audio. We'll go to the big boy later. Stable is very bright. Dark mode doesn't seem to exist. I'm going to make sure I can log in here. Log in with Google. Why not? That's me. Oof, God, it's so bright. I don't understand. Why do they do this?
Yeah.
Do they have a dark mode? Oh, God. Oh, just shows how long it's been since I've been on this. Yeah. I've wrote it, accept the terms and conditions, and I don't want the newsletter. So Stable Audio came around just after Stable did the image generation and stuff like that. And so it's one of those things like they just went to a version 2.0 recently. This is credits based. It's, one of those things that, oh God, really? No. Oh God, it makes me so angry when something doesn't have a dark mode. Oh my God, it pains me. So it's really powerful. It's one of those things that it can be really cool. So instead of somber, I don't know. Let's get into the more horror aspect. Let's get the Lady of the Lake song.
Ooh,
so that's
I like it. Her entrance.
Like when they're walking up to her, what would be playing? So it's going to be ominous. It's going to be dark.
Yeah.
Do we want to go modern? Make it like a modern type of, like the Guy Ritchie version of King Arthur, where he has some hip hop involved in that movie. So maybe we'll go.
Well, I guess, yeah. We can let's test whatever you're feeling. I say run with it.
Yeah. Oh no, but hit me. I'm always good with I love to add to prompts.
For me, when I think of this Lady of the Lake, she's alluring, right? There's something about her. Like, I'm not saying we want to go full exotic or anything like that direction, but just kind of somewhat tantalizing, but in a very mysterious, dark way. I don't know how we encapsulate that in a prompt, but
I'm going to see what alluring does, because alluring could be interesting. It depends on where it takes it from. And this, I don't know how this is going to react, because this one, I didn't use it that much, because honestly, in the very beginning, it was so many people were using it that the service was almost unusable because it was just so long to wait for a generation. Nowadays, they've settled a lot of this stuff, so it's a lot easier. But what this is good at is they do long stuff. So they have a 3-minute option. They have, we can go all the way down as far as we want. So it's a pretty potent type of tool, but it all depends on how this goes. Let's see what it generates from, dark trap music, slow jam, alluring. Let's see how it likes that. And see how fast it does it too, because that's going to be interesting. 3-minute song,
That's pretty good.
But yeah, so this is one of the things that Stable offers. It's kind of it's a product. They don't do many products on their own. Dream Studio is one, Clip Drop is another, and Stable Audio is another. And it's kind of the only 3 revenue models that are consumer facing. And so there's a lot of reasons why you would use this, especially if you like what it does. And that's why I tell everyone to try stuff. Most of them give you free stuff. They give you 20 credits just off the bat, just for signing up, because
Yeah.
I didn't beta test any of this, so I don't have any insight to it. It's just kind of there, but
Oh,
it's pretty badass.
Hank said, "Are we spelling medieval right?" I don't know if that
It's
matters.
entirely possible I fucked that up.
It's a word that's I get wrong often. So
Yeah, because I'm always like medieval is how I always say it in my head. But is it?
Med-I-E-val, yeah.
Yeah,
Med-I-E-val.
that's how I. But I've had autocorrect tell me I'm wrong, and I'm like, but how? But let's see what
It's
dark
actually
track music slow jam alluring gives us.
medieval.
Oh man, I don't know.
That's jarring.
But that is
Interesting. It's interesting.
That is possible.
Yeah.
That is possible. I actually I kind of like that. I have to say. I don't know. I don't know. That was
It's interesting.
okay.
It's got a feeling. Not sure how I
Yeah.
feel about the feeling, but it's got
Yeah.
something there.
What would you dial back? Like what are you hearing out of that you don't
Well,
like?
there's a little bit of a scratching feel that feels a little. That's where I get the jarring feel,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel like it blends. And again, I kind of like the idea of it, like
Yeah.
that kind of like purposefully jarring, interval every so often, especially from your antagonist or evil
Well, I
spirit
think
of sorts.
what's cool is I didn't know this could do this, so this
Mm.
is new for me. Is you can use that song as an input. So
Hmm.
this is music to music, which that's
Ah.
very new. I didn't realize they had done that here. So this is going to be interesting. So we're going to put input strength at 75 because 75 is nice and high, so it'll keep a lot of that main part of what we like. But we could add to it, and we could try something a little different, and see how far we could push what this model does. So let's take out the dark trap music, but let's keep something like let's say horror suspense slow jam horror suspense soundtrack slow jam alert. Let's see what it does. Now, like, I have no idea what this is going to do. So this is going to be new for me. This is going to be live while this is happening, in the brightest possible way. It's insane. All the other tools have dark mode. So, honestly, I would even recommend this tool. I don't care how good the song is until they get a dark mode. Like that's a 100%. Jesus.
That's big party foul.
Oh God, it's so bright.
It is bright.
It's so bright. Like
it actually makes me want to turn my screen down because it's so bright.
That's the thing. If I do, the other screens that we're using, no one's going to be able to see anything. Let's see what our King Arthur is doing. Let's do that.
Oh, okay. Look at our man over here.
Nice. So all I did was, this is our initial image. This was the image that we got when we wanted photo real. And then what we ended up saying is, like, I didn't want him to be blonde. Let's even go back to our prompt. So all I did was add in the negative that I didn't want him to have blonde hair, because our first guy, he's blonde. So, I don't want anyone to feel like, since I'm blonde, that I have any particular-ness towards blondes. I don't care. I'm easy. But, then it gave us a Napoleon-looking Arthur. But it is, once again, he's not blonde. And then they gave us this guy, that's a pretty badass looking Arthur, I have to say.
Yeah,
he's got a strong jaw.
Yeah, strong jaw.
This is Henry VIII if he was cosplaying as King Arthur.
Yeah, it looks like he does some workout. Yeah,
he definitely does Pilates. That's for sure.
Yeah.
This guy CrossFits. That's 100%. You could tell. But this is not bad too. Like, and then this one's okay. This is like Heath Ledger's like cousin, and he has 19 fingers. This guy's pretty good.
Older King Arthur. This feels interesting.
Yeah, I like his bling. His bling is quite good. But I think who we both liked was this gentleman right here.
I like this idea. Yeah, and that last image gave me inspiration for the character a little more. I like this idea of playing into expectation, but kind of like doing the opposite. Like this is the kind of King Arthur I feel like you wouldn't expect, where he's more of like the show off. He's more of the guy that's like he knows he's made it and he's going to tell you about it. And so we don't actually really like him, even though maybe we need him to defeat the evil in this world. So really kind of giving him that duality of I hate him, but we need him. And so I guess I like him, but fuck him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that
vibe, because the other ones feel very on the nose, which is great. This feel, and this is why I like using these tools sometimes, is just to kind of knock you off of the expectation, what everyone thinks, and give you some kind of like fresh view of like, wait a second, what if he was a little more in this direction? So just from his outfit is kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do like his little ballerness. Like I like these like bracelets he's got on. It reminds me of all the wonderful individuals I knew in my neighborhood. I grew up primarily Italian, so it was very bold.
Yeah. So like Ice was it Ice T, right? Ice T that wears the chains.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much of that era that did the gold, like the gold ropes and the gold chains, and and then you have Flavor Flav with the clock and all the other stuff. So there's a lot. We'll take uploads as additional input. Hank, do you mean that in stable audio, or do you mean that in the image generator? Just reply back whenever you get a chance. But yeah, so that's something. That's I like that idea. So what we'll do is there's another step, and then once again, I'm prepared and I'm not prepared at the same time. We're gonna use also a tool that a lot of people who are all AI artists really love, which is Magnifique. I had been a huge resistor to using Magnifique for the longest time, because it's one of those things that's really powerful. But it has a cost. But if I were selling more art, this is what I would use. This is something I did for a client recently, and actually this is a composite that I took 2 different images and I put them over each other, and I didn't really do a good job on cleaning up these 4 figures that are standing here. But what I did was I threw it through Magnifique and it cleans it, where now you could see that the dimension all kind of works and the lighting is all kind of perfect. And Magnifique is extremely powerful stuff. It's technically an upscaler, but what it does is it does what's called creative upscaling. So we're gonna take that image. Let me see if I can just do this. We're going to take that image, we're going to put it into Magnifique, we're going to clean it up a little bit, and that will be our King Arthur. And will you be able to use that image for any time we're generating King Arthur again? We could show him in a different type of situation. No wonder. This is all ancient AI stuff from the days of old. Those were all like 4-year-old, 3-year-old generations. So we're going to API, we're going to Auto 1111 app, and we go to outputs. This is also part of the problem with using Auto 1111. The file management it's great because every day you generate something, it starts a new day. So the first generation you make, it's the date that you're making it. But what sucks is like it's all Windows file management. Sorry. So we like our last guy right here. So we're going to take him. We're going to put him in. We're going to do that. We're going to go for portraits hard. And we're going to prompt for King Arthur portrait. And I am not capitalizing things because it doesn't need to happen, Karen. So please, I adore you. To give it a little bit of boost. These sliders are kind of really the key to this because there's a lot of things that you could do with this. Sliders, these sliders are they're temperamental, but they're very powerful. And so when you do, you just hit upscale, and then it's going to sit there and upscale it remotely. It's doing it with in the cloud, but it's exceptionally powerful stuff. So while he generates, let's move to stable audio and see what that looks like. So prepare yourselves. It's about to get very bright. I'm going to try. I wish I had sunglasses. Oh, God. The sun sucks. So I think this is it. Yeah, looks like it. Maybe. I can't say I hate that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely, again, it feels like, wait, that shouldn't work, and maybe it does, but for the character, feels like it could work for a character that doesn't work as a character, right? Like,
so
it's interesting.
What's good about being here is we've heard two different ways of doing this. We've heard this like kind of music effects way, which I think more towards track 1 was like what we kind of liked from this. This was the somber medieval chamber music. It's something more for King Arthur, but it kind of hit nail on the head. So there's a bit of that. So we already have King Arthur. Oh wow, yeah, just refreshed. We already have King Arthur's kind of like idea and vibe, and we could always kind of roll with that. But then we also now have this idea. Oh Jesus. We now have this idea with the Lady in the Lake. And so now let's go to the big players. Like we're gonna start with Suno. Suno is the well-known one. It is like this is the premier stuff. Like this is the best.
They got me. I used it, Chris. I used it for my sister's 40th birthday. I created her a song in this platform, and it was pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
I have something to show you. You might even like better. And if they have all my previous stuff, we can listen to my the rap song for Teddy Roosevelt that I had it right, which I can't even tell you how good it is. It's so funny.
Wow.
We'll listen to a few seconds of that. But what's cool about Suno, for those who don't know, is Suno does not just instruments, but they also do lyrics. So if we wanted to have this be more of a music video based on the life of King Arthur and it's in this universe, we could do that. And then also we could just do instrumental. I think we're gonna try with the lyrics. Let's see how this rolls. Just because it's something that we could use it, we could not. We'll see what happens. But it's kind of the power of this. And I have all these things that I've already generated here, and without seeing how I prompted, it really doesn't give you the connection to it. And then also without the end result, it's better off that we go somewhere like this. So I don't know. Let's. Do you want to go classic with this, like something where we say, "Oh, it's a medieval song, a medieval hymn about King Arthur and
let's get since it's a horror, we're gonna have a dramatic moment. What about something that feels like things have gone wrong and everything's falling apart and something's coming? Like, so it's kind of like, if we're putting it in a context of a real situation, someone's mother just got eaten and now they've lost everything, and oh shit, now it's coming for them. Like, if that kind of feel. I don't know
with lyrics.
Oh, sorry. Are we talking lyrics or just composition?
We're gonna try it with lyrics first, and then we'll.
Oh shit! Well, that's a whole other ball game.
I was about to say, man, like that's a story right there. Like, all right, we could try that. I mean, I don't mind trying it. It's gonna be wild what it comes up with. You want to try it?
I mean, I was in another plane of existence, so I don't know. I defer to you.
Let's see. So let's pull it out. Do you want to keep it in universe? You think like maybe we'll do like an in universe type of thing?
Or are you saying for this keep it in the King Arthur's world,
Yeah,
or do
like we'll
something
try
totally
it. We'll
fresh?
try something that's more well. Yeah, like that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Okay.
If
Okay.
it's
So
not
let's
like
do
that,
what is all right. So we have this lady of the lake, right?
right?
Alluring. What if she's
Mhm.
part of her shtick is she has a song. There's a song to lure
Ooh, ooh,
her next
ooh,
victim into the
mm,
pond, the knight and his
okay.
horse, to drink from her
Song
splash pad. Terrible description.
splash pad. She got the lily pad out. She has the splash pad now. It's much better.
Yes,
Works with the
Jeremy.
aesthetic. Well, that's actually that's where we get to Udio. That's the next tool that
Ooh, okay. Now I'm
definitely.
gonna have to learn that
You
one.
want to
Yeah.
talk about musical? It could make a musical. I did some musicals based on NFTs. It's so good. This will not be that. I don't think it. We'll see. I give Suno a little bit of credit. They're very good, but I don't think they're as crazy as Udio is.
Mm.
Hypnotic song from the Lady of the Lake to lure knights of the round table. Did we get a good? Did we figure out if we're spelling medieval wrong?
I think MED
MED?
right? Med. It's like medieval.
Medieval? Like so Medieval?
I think so.
All right. Karen, you know the deal. Medieval
Where did Hank
songs.
go? Where's Hank? Double check us, Hank.
Yeah, check
Well,
our
now
work.
I was gonna bring it up because he spelled it for us. Where the heck did he go?
Ladies become a
Hank.
siren. Ooh, okay.
Oh,
I'll
here we
use
go. This is this right, Chris?
that. That looks right too. I mean, it all
Okay.
looks right to me. That's why I'm just like, but I'll go with the audience more than me because I am in no state of mind to be doing. Yeah, so we spelled it. We spelled it correctly. Okay, but I like that siren idea. Hypnotic siren song because siren songs are
Yeah.
very different from, and they'll be more like Ariel from the
Yeah.
Little Mermaid type of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I
that's
like
how
that.
siren songs are. And actually, where I used to work in Coney Island, and one of the things that was a local legend was the Coney Island Siren. They used to have Siren Fest every year, which was a music festival. But there's this thing about the Coney Island Siren is the sound you hear in the winter of the wind blowing through all the amusement park rides that are still there. And you hear this sound that it's undeniable. Like it's something very clear that you hear. But everyone thought it was the Coney Island Siren. And so let's see what it does. Let's see.
Thirsty waters, midnight hue,
A little awkward there.
a siren's voice, I let it loose.
Oh, nice echo.
Melting hearts like magic bound.
All right. All right. It's trying. It's trying some things. It's trying some things. All right. Let's see what the other enchanted serenade. Oh. Oh. No. That's a whole buttload of no.
Yeah. That was a little
The
awkward.
first one was a little better, but
a
it's
little
one of
better.
those
Yeah.
things like it's okay. I do have ways I would improve this, but let's get through all the tools first,
Okay.
and then we'll come back. So let's see what our King Arthur looks like now that Magnifique has given us. Oh, look at that! Look at them
Wow.
eyeballs, bro. Them eyeballs are nice. This one's not great, but this one's pretty solid. His ears are pretty equal. We got a little bit on here. Hands look okay. We got some nice veinery. I think it's a pretty solid face.
Yeah.
So let's take that. We're gonna download that, put that somewhere. I have a block of horror folder, so let's just do that. Put it there. Save. And so now what's kind of cool about what Auto 1111 does really well is there's the face replacement capabilities. And so this uses what's called IP adapters, which is the cutting edge stuff on face replacement. A lot of different major names use this as the back end. And it's very powerful stuff. And it's one of those things that if used correctly, you can do pretty much anything. Like you can create very consistent characters and keep them consistent throughout the entirety of like any generation you do. And you'll see kind of how this works.
I love that.
So it's going to automatically detect the face. It's going to take that face and put it on anything else that I generate or anything I request, regardless of anything I asked for. But we're going to keep going with the King Arthur. So instead of King Arthur in his court portrait, and we're going to change this aspect ratio to be more cinematic, more like a 16:9. Leave everything else the same.
How about, should we do it in his chainmail? Ready for battle?
Yes. So we'll do King Arthur on horseback. During battle with evil spirits. Let's see how that goes. His blonde hair, this, that, the other. What I also find is really useful is, so what's cool about this, no. Hold on one second. Let's see. No? All right. Hold on. Let me just do something really quick. Bongo. Oh, no, wrong one. API, and then Auto 11, app, and outputs, and text images, this. And we're going to do this one. Bingo. That, set to text to image. There we go. That's set up. That's fine. So King Arthur on horseback during battle with evil spirits. And what I wanted to do, that's what I wanted to do. What's also really powerful about this is that I was talking about in one of our earlier streams is the seed numbers. Seed numbers are, the real bread and butter of how you could do a lot of things. That and control nets, which is down here too. It's kind of it's the tooling I'm using. But what's powerful about seed numbers is, shouldn't change it. Okay, perfect. Is that the face and a lot of the concept of that initial portrait are going to make it into this other description of what I'm trying to say. So it's going to use as much of this data as it possibly can, because it's being given a face, it's being given the prompt that's close. It's also being given a seed number that is like in the millions of seed numbers there are. This is a very specific way the data is supposed to work. So it's kind of cool. It takes a little bit, so it'll be cool that we can look at the other tool and kind of like, play around with this, and then we can, see what this looks like in video right after. Mind you, this has all been just trying to image gen and then talk about music. It's the power though here is that the next time we stream, or hopefully within the next half hour, we could try and get something in video to kind of show something like this. So with evil spirits, let's say this is the culmination of the story where Arthur, everything's happened. The lady of the lake is kind of, they're going to battle. So let's let this run. This should be fine. Let's see. You also have to watch this because the stuff is temperamental. What are we feeling? Are we feeling good? We're feeling good. Okay, very good. Yes, feeling good. Okay. And this is a lot of what you look at too, a lot of code. Just because this is how you tell when things are going wrong. The code will tell you first. And it looks like everything is going okay. So let's let that run. And we'll move on to the last tool that, and then we can go and refine some stuff, see what we want to make.
Yeah.
This is Udio.
Okay.
Now, Udio is something I've been kind of obsessed with for like the past 4 or 5 days. And it's a really powerful tool. So let's see what we can do here. So these are all the different things that I've made and made since. This is my Teddy Roosevelt rap song. Now, I'm making a whole music video off of this. This is just to kind of give you a sample of something that's possible.
Yes, right. Talking about Teddy. What? This track's about the legend in his prime. A rough rider charging hills, such epic climb. Which hill? San Juan flexes my he's a titan. Fought for the people, trust he wasn't lying. Like him, I'm gonna ride on up history. He liked adventures, now his tale's no mystery. You chose me to play the flow, bow the rough riders run.
So in that 29 seconds, they talked about San Juan Hill. They talked about the Rough Riders. They talked about just him being Teddy Roosevelt, and this is all just like really easy prompting to do this. And there is, let's see if there's any of because I did a lot of Roosevelt ones. I just kept going and going and going. They were so fun. And there's a lot of different ways of doing things. And let's see. Pixelated Rebellion. Let's see if this. No, that's not what it is. Here, let's try this one. Yeah. It was all. So I did musicals too, which was just I couldn't even believe that it worked because it's just such a crazy. Oh, here we go.
Sunrise beaming as my fruit stands vibrant hues. Sweet smiles streaming when she passes my heart cues.
Terrible.
Oranges gleaming, but it's her.
That's a musical I had written when I was in high school about a fruit stand man in love with the butcher's daughter. And I couldn't believe that this thing did this quickly. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So you can kind of see this variance. So like, this is why this tool is really unhinged. It's really powerful. So we're going to prompt this. We're going to try that same idea we did in Suno. We're going to take the same prompt and see what it does in Udio. Only issue with Udio is lately, since a lot of people are using it, it is sometimes a little clogged up. So let's see. Hit create.
Excuse me.
No problem. Okay. So let's see how long it takes. But so Udio is one of those things that's very new on the scene. What it kind of replaced is there was a generator called Splash Pro. They went out of business recently. They were really good. It was a really amazing generator, but they just didn't get the traction to get to where they needed to be. So it's one of those things like, wow, that's fast. So it's one of those things that as new things come into the space, like they could be unhinged, they could be kind of really raw so that people get a real understanding of how to use it. And that's where Udio is right now. Udio is a very, very raw tool. It's tough to recommend, but it is really good. So I think my machine is currently screaming at me because it's like, what are you doing? So many things at the same time. Okay, so you saw the same prompt. We used it in Suno. We got one decent generation. The other one was not so great, but it was a full song, both sides. Now, let's see what 33 seconds out of Udio sounds like.
Come hither, thou knight, to my watery bower. What seekest thou here in this mystical hour? Ye brave and ye bold from the round table square, my voice in the wind shall enchant thee to dare. I sing with the reeds and I sing with the waves, to lure thee to depths that are silent as graves.
The rhyme scheme on that lady. Oh, what? That was a good intro. I mean, honestly, that's a good villain intro. Let's hear a second one. I'm kind of interested.
softly, the water's lady calls so clean, chanting in the nightly dream, beneath the waves, come near, calling night so brave and true. Her melody binds like woven thread.
Interesting.
Interesting.
But you know, one of the cool things about this is kind of like how Stable Audio has is there's a remix function where you can take the song and do things with it. There's also now this works exceptionally well here. It does not work as great in Suno. Is the extend function. And what's smart about this is you can now change your prompt for the song, and you can have it add a section, and then you could make it just instrumental. You could have it add more lyrics. You could write your own lyrics. You could also add an outro. So, like, let's say we really like this, where you know the scene is going to be that quick. We want to add an outro. So, and then let's say instead of medieval song, let's go for like evil orchestral march, but the same, you know, kind of the same. And let's see how it changes. There should be a clear tone change at the 33-second mark or so. So we'll let it generate. We'll take a look because our authors are finished. And then, you know, we'll start throwing stuff into video just to kind of like play with those tools a little bit. And this will generate. This is good. So authors are done. Let's open up our, interesting. So they went for, because I didn't switch from portrait to landscape. But so that's the Arthur it gave us from the image we gave it. Now, if you look at the initial image that we gave it, is that one. Oh, whoa. I don't know what the hell that is. Yeah, there we go. So take this and take this. So that's our initial Arthur. That's the Arthur that it gave us with the trying to do the face consistency. And it does different variations. The first one is usually the best one because it's closest to the scene.
I see.
So this is something we'd still have to throw it through Magnifique and do some stuff, but a lot of the structure is there. And there's also Auto 1111 isn't the best tool to use this, but it is the easiest tool to use this. Comfy UI is where you can get some really like scary deep fake type of stuff. This is where character consistency you could play. You don't really need to know how the tech works. It just kind of works. But it gave us a couple of variations of that idea of him on the battlefield, waiting to fight the evil spirits. I'm going to, instead of try and generate a whole shitload of those again, I'm just going to go for 2, but I'm going to flip that to make a wide image. And we'll hit generate again. Just let that go. So because our extends are probably ready to go. And since we're only doing 2, this should be fairly quick. Okay, so now we're at 1:06. We added Evil Orchestral March. So what these do is most of the time, the first like 33 seconds or so that you already heard, they really don't change very much. It's when it gets to that 33-second point or close to it, it changes the song because it needs to then transition to this next prompt. So we'll start it. I'll jump to like 30 so seconds, and then we'll hear about how it does.
My voice in the wind shall enchant thee to dare. I sing with the reeds and I sing with the waves, to lure thee to depths that are silent as graves.
Here's where it starts.
Follow me down to a kingdom unseen. Treasures await where the waters are serene. Cross o'er the threshold where shadows hold sway. My magic it beckons, come forth and obey. I whisper of glory, I whisper of fate. O night in my grasp shall the legends create.
I just really like that.
Very interesting.
I like that ending. I mean, it feels like that could be a sequence. Like I'd actually want to make that scene
Yeah.
of her just like telling the knight, like, come to me,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll make
So
you a legend, but you'll never escape. Things like
the
that. Like really.
GPT is sometimes very good at doing rhyme schemes, and especially the way Udio does it. I really like. It's not very often that the lyrics are awkward. Like we saw in Suno, like it was good, but it would need work.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
need to go back and tweak it and touch it. This almost is like right there.
Mhm.
It's almost ready. All this
See to depths that are silent as graves. Through mists and the shadows, my call shall you heed. A whisper of power, a beckon of greed. Behold my veiled kingdom, its secrets untold. Brave knight, dare you enter, where fate shall unfold. My waters are endless, my spells woven tight. Surrender to darkness, to temptations of night.
Wow.
Mhm.
And it's another totally different feel, but you know, it's the
Mhm.
thing is it's so good that you can have that could be a sequence, like that could be a scene in itself. And it's also like if you changed it up, like instead of hypnotic siren song, we could do something like
What happened? What did I miss?
I'm gonna try this in country western.
Ah, yes, please. We got to give a little
yeah.
fun here.
Well,
Not
let's
that this
add a
isn't fun.
section. Let it try and see what it does with that. So,
Can it transition is the question. How well?
oh,
will it
I have
transition?
no idea. That's going to be scary as hell. I'll say that. That's going to be abrupt. Like that Death March didn't come through as much as I'd like, but that's going to be abrupt.
I kind of like this idea. You know how you got to open a movie with a bang, especially in horror. I like this idea that we don't know who she's luring at first. Like we don't know the knight, but we know it's someone important, and it's King Arthur, and we kill him at the beginning, and so it's almost like the movie's called King Arthur's, whatever horror Camelot, and right from the start we're like, oh shit, all bets are off. Like
Yeah,
she went for the king, and so we know she's powerful. We know she's got some people in her crosshairs. I don't know.
That'd be this dude right here.
and maybe that's where it can go is she's killing him, but does he come back alive? Is there another way to turn the tides later, perhaps?
That's a good one. That's a good one. So let's see how this does this. Let's try and open. So there's our King Arthur on the field of battle, ready to rock. Yeah, I know. See, like Michael gets it. He knows the deal. So I think this is a decent enough King Arthur that we could at least throw this into a video generator for like the last few minutes and see what it does. So this kind of the thing that we're all kind of here for. I can't wait. This is going to be so exciting. So we're going to go into Runway and we're going to go into generate some videos. Text and image to video. So I'm going to upload a file. That should be good. So there's a second image that generated while we were talking that I kind of want to see what it looks like when we generated the video, because that's interesting. Like, so what's good about each generator is they have their things, their strengths and their weaknesses. What I do like about this image when it comes down to Runway is one of Runway's really powerful things is doing background. Background is really, really, really potent. Just because we're pressed for time, I want to kind of direct this where I want it to go and show a little bit of the tools and how we use it. So for me, my thing is I really like this background. I think that sky is fantastic. So I'm going to use the motion brush, which they do shape on motion brush. So it kind of detects the equal colors and it tries to pull it in. There's going to be a little bit of stragglers here and there, which we could just kind of clean up a little bit. Yes, just do a quickie job. And then, there's all sorts of other things that you could do. So you can use other brushes. So I'm going to go for brush 2. I'm going to go for this, and we're going to put all of Arthur in our second brush, which, even though you're selecting shapes, sometimes you really have to get really picky about what you're doing and meticulous. And why is his ears not the same color as the bridle? Like, I don't understand, but I'm not a developer. So it's one of those things, like, perfect. And then we're going to do this and this. And so what you could do with each of these brushes is then establish what you'd want the things that your colors to do. So for this, I'd want the proximity. I'd want Arthur to be coming more at us. And so I'm going to hit this button to make him like kind of move towards the camera in a not a camera move, but more of a kind of an animation way. And then for this brush with the sky, skies are great to do horizontals. So I'll do like a nice horizontal motion. And then, you're good. And then you start generating out of that image. So I usually, for every generator, I usually go about 4 times to start off with, just to see, because
range.
Yeah, because a lot of the times it doesn't hit right the first time, and if you're only doing one at a time, with seeing how long this is, like we've hit this a couple of seconds ago and it's only a 10%, it takes a minute, so you don't want to like limit yourself. And on the explore mode, while we have credits that we have to burn later in the month, it's something you want to kind of be cognizant of, and taking your time is always a good thing. So that's Runway. That's Runway ML. This is how I would do it. I'd generate an image, I'd put it into Runway, and I'd start playing with how it motions and how it moves. We were also able to get Pika for the month in Pro. So we're going to also go into Pika and see about what we could do with their generator using the same image. And they have a bunch of stuff that they allow you to do. We're going to go with the motion control. I would really like it to do like a zoom out and a pan left. And then we're going to take the strength of motion. It's at 1. Okay, we'll leave it at 1, because the more motion you add to something, sometimes it will mess with the image. It's always good to kind of like just work with the lowest and then increase as you need to. And so we'll say King Arthur with his horse on stormy day. This doesn't have exactly an image brush, so it's one of those things you can do once you're in it. You can play with some things, but you got to prompt, you got to like show it what you want it to do and how you want it to do it. So we'll just run that. And the stormy day is more about trying to capture that sky in the background. And it's like, telling it, hey, there's things going on in this image. And we'll run that about 4 times. So God, the sound effects is also really good. We'll play with that momentarily, because it does really good horse sound effects. Let's go take a look at our song. So we're at 1:06. Let's see.
From the realm to dare, I raise. Right onwards, ye knights, through the mist ye shall find a lady of lakes with a dark, twisted mind. But beware of the light that shines deep in her eyes. It's a beacon for doom where the deepest fear lies. I whisper through willows, I murmur with night. My spellbinding song seals your...
Well, we finally found a way to break audio. Yeah, I guess it was too much of a jump to try and extend that song that way. So it's one of those things that I thought that would do that differently. So let's see. We're going to take this. We're going to copy it. We're going to reset the whole thing, and just to kind of show you what a similar prompt would do. But let's go from the outset. Let it play and see what it does while it's doing it. So that's going to run for a little bit. Let's go take a look at our video gens, because they should be done. Beautiful. So let's see what we got. Not bad. That sky background's moving nicely. It has some life to it. Let's see what this one does. Once again, kind of really, really soft type of motion. You see how this cloud is moving, and the horse is barely any of the other stuff is barely moving. It's just a little bit of motion sometimes. But now we could also go real wild with this, and see what it happens when we jack it up to like 5, and then proximity will keep this. We'll keep 0.5. Oh, nope, that was not that tool. This one. See what see if we can get something real dramatic out of this, because these are really good. And I can easily see extending these for another 4 seconds, and it'll probably carry over where it'll just have this nice static-ish shot of just this sky background just moving, and you can see like the flap on his thing a little bit. There's a little bit of motion here, and it's that's kind of what this shot is about. It's about having that just touch, because it'd be this is like the stare down. This is where Arthur's looking out into the into the battlefield, and he's like, I'm gonna get you, type of thing. Let's let that roll. I'll roll that 2 more times. Okay, now let's go to Pika. So Pika is a little wild. Pika went a little crazy with this one. So their motion is very different. They have a very different type of look. Wow, this one really broke. Oof. This one, what happened? Oh, wow. It's lightning and thunder. It added a whole other horse.
More horse.
Yeah, we need more horse. Hell with the cowbell. Yeah, this just really went nuts. And that's the thing, sometimes this is what I mean about motion controls. When you don't try and control them a little more. Let's see. I'm going to even go lower I'm actually going to take off that. We're going to leave the pan. I'm going to put the strength of motion, leave it at 1, and see if maybe the camera controls did what, kind of mess with what we wanted to do. And, this is what a lot of this is, and this is why you use certain tools for certain things, and the looks will be very different. So you want to keep some sort of consistency with it. But yeah, that's kind of the potency of those two things. This is taking its time. So yeah, let's take a gander, see if we got a country western song. For some reason it generated, oh, here, so I didn't play that one because why not?
Minstrels, gentry, and legend call this magic bound in the ancient.
Whoa. That was a lot. Wow. It might have, audio might be broken at this point. I don't know.
Deep beneath the mirroring waves lays a lady fair and grave. Whispers rise tonight so brave.
Totally different movie. Like not even the same film.
No.
So sad. And that's the thing. We started with something really good, and we're at a point where I have no idea where it's trying to go from. But man, does it not like this? Well, let's take the evil orchestral march out. Maybe that's what's throwing it off. So this is the other thing about each generator has like really weird ways of like going for it. You know what I mean? Like it changes. Some things will just like throw it completely off, like totally off. So one of the things I think we'll try and do is we'll take King Arthur out of here. We'll see if we can make a Lady of the Lake really quick, and then see if we could throw her into an image, a video generator, and see what she does. So I'm going to turn this off because I don't need this. This will be nice and quick. And we'll do 6 variations. So we're going to go, okay. So we liking that like white-haired, white outlook, or what do we,
Yeah, kind of,
are we looking like old hag, or are we looking like?
No, I think I like the idea of more alluring, like an alluring. Now maybe she has 2 sides of herself, right? Maybe there is that version. Maybe there's a little bit of what's his name? What's his name? DeLorean Gray. I can't say his name.
Oh, the Portrait of Dorian Gray.
Portrait of Dorian Gray. Yes. Maybe there's a little bit of that in there. But yeah, I like the idea of because you're not gonna lure a big strong knight to come to you unless you have something that's alluring. Not sure if that's, just her presence or her singing or her, a combination of things.
Glowing above lake. Okay.
A seductress, El Inca says.
So this so just for the interest of PG-13ness, one of the things you have to do when you start prompting for any women of any sort is you have to try and put your own filtration on, especially if you're using a completely open source model. So one of the things I did is no matter what we add, I have to add nudity and bad art to the negative prompt because I would like for there not to be as many naked body parts as possible. Sometimes that happens. Don't expect it to. So let's see what happens. We're going to generate 6 of these. So let's let that run. And then while that is going to be, about a minute, let's go see what our dramatic camera moves in Runway have done. So go to the very last one. There we go. There we go. Different. He's got a blink, which is interesting. We got some stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah, and the background's moving at a way more dramatic pace. Interesting. So let's see what you do. Okay. Interesting. Not bad. Once again, it's this is a really like it's two subjects. It's keeping it really tight type of thing. What's going on here? Interrupt that. Stop immediately. That should not be taking 7 minutes to do. So let's let that run for a second to stop it. But yeah, so it's a little less dramatic. Let's also see what we can do with like a bigger image, because we have all these videos. We'll be able to kind of make something out of it, kind of put it into a sequence, and and there's something there. Actually, what I'll also show is like, let's say we liked this one, but we want it to be longer than 4 seconds. This is really where it gets challenging, and this is something that what Adobe is going to hope to solve. So there's this extend button that you could now extend this whole thing. And once again, they want you to tell them what you want to move and how you want to move it, and do that. So do a little bit of that. We're going to not be as crazy this time. And so what we'll do is we'll move it real rambunctious, and we'll just go done. And so what's the camera is going to essentially try and do is it's going to stop, and it's going to go, it's going to let the background just kind of like lose its mind. So let's see what that does. Let's see if we can kind of break it that way. 4. And let's see what, Pika. Oof, a lot of action, but good Lord. Let's see. A lot of action. Oof. Pika is not liking this image. This is the best one. It's not bad, but it's still rough. Very rough. Wow. It just does not like that image. That is an interesting thing that I've never really seen happen. This is unusual. Usually it's something like this. It would catch on to it really well. Runway is doing an exceptional job, whereas Pika is struggling. And I mean, like I've had Pika do great things. Like the zoom in is beautiful. This is one of our shorts that we put out called Sasquatch. The steam coming off of this is great. Block of Horror, when we did the logo, it did a pretty good job. But for whatever reason, these images, it is not a happy camper, which is strange. So this should have stopped. Oof, I don't know what it was trying to do. Yeah, I don't know what it was trying to do. So let's let that ride, and that should be fine. 6 that, yeah, all good. But this is something I also do. I sit here and I stare at this screen until I find what's wrong. Usually the code is also okay. That should be working now, so that shouldn't give us another problem. So that's kind of the run of everything. It's what I would do is I would do this kind of workflow where I would sit here with this and try and make the images I need, and then I would go through those images. I'd try and generate the video, and then I'd also go to the music and see what I could pull back and forth from it. And I think out of everything we used, what was kind of the front runner was stable audio. Freaking sunlight of my life right here. Stable audio, and this is I think the best we've got so far tonight. Not that part, but the part that worked. They don't let you reverse. Good Lord. Jeez. All right. Well, anyway, the good part of that was like really good. It worked. We also got some really good stuff with music effects because we were able to stem out what we wanted and what we needed. So, the idea of what you need as far as your video is important to which you're using. Like we saw some things out of Udio that worked. Suno, it didn't really, we didn't really see that. But then again, what I will say is that if you take out the lyrics and you go for strictly instrumental, like you're going to have a very different experience. And I think that experience will be even better. And I think that's another aspect is if you don't need lyrics, there's a lot of these that are just going to work better. We'll even try that with Udio where we'll see, we'll do this and we'll just put instrumental, no lyrics, and let it run on the country western song. So let's go back to Suno and do the copy of the original. Control C, Control V, and instrumental right there, and just see what it creates. And it's kind of the thing that instrumental works a lot better. The algorithm picks it up a lot better. It's just, that's the kind of the thing it does. It just does it that way. So it's one of those things that as you start to use these tools, like that's what you need to start being cognizant of. It's the same way like video, like I showed you in Pika that this image entirely didn't work for whatever reason. And it honestly baffles me because it's a perfect image for this. But for whatever reason, this image worked way better. Even though this looks a little messed up. It's one of those things that certain things will work better than others. So like at 4 seconds, this should take a significant, difference where it even starts to transition to another scene, which is kind of cool. And some of those happy accidents really do work in your favor. Especially if you do really dramatic stuff like that, it could start making it a transition. And that's a pretty smooth dissolve, and if that's the thing you're looking for, like it's entirely possible. If you want to control it more, you dial back things, you try out different things, you try out different prompts. That's a great transition. Once again, like, good Lord. I think I found a workflow for transitions. That's great. Yeah. Once again, clouds just come through and you could move to an entirely different scene that way. So let's see if we got any good ladies of the lake. See what I mean? Bongo. That's our lady of the lake. Now, what we use is a photoreal model, and there are things like we didn't necessarily need this to be photographic. So it's one of those things that, I'd go in and I'd probably change a couple of things just to see if we can get a better kind of thing, better image, because this looks more like a peasant that's like really trying to allure people. Like you have no idea this is an ethereal being, it's very like trapping you type of thing. So it's interesting. But it's one of the things like when you're trying to do fantasy and you're trying to blend it with photoreal, there tends to now be a reason you do things a different way, or you try things a different way, or you prompt a certain way. And that's a matter of just trying out different words, trying out different things. It's we can interrupt this and try and play with it. but all in all, it's all a matter of taking whatever idea and trying to use the malleability of all the different tools to make that idea possible. And then, like I showed you, if you want to do character consistency, it's possible here as well. The higher up you go, the better it is. But it is something that's so common that we use it everywhere. But yeah, then, now you have music where if you didn't really want to make something narrative, if you wanted to make a music video or a musical, there's a lot of options, and it's really, really powerful stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy how good this stuff's getting, just from all the possibilities. And obviously there still takes some technical understanding and skill and composition and all that kind of stuff, but you can also stumble into some happy accidents that you're like, oh wow, that's good too. So
Yeah, like, I mean, this is actually a pretty decent image. Like, that's interesting. I could definitely say we could work with it.
face, yeah.
And it's something that I would take in and then try and tweak, and see what happens. But yeah, there's all kinds of different ways of playing with this. And, just to kind of like wrap up on like this whole section, that's what it's all about. It's all about using the tools for their strengths and not being totally indebted to one tool. Because just to answer a question from earlier, let's see, we'll take, so here's our instrumentals that we just generated out of Suno. Honestly, that could also be a hip hop song. So if somebody threw a beat over that and like some really good bars.
The Shire.
Oh, that was a fine day on the Shire.
Frodo
was shoveling manure, and I just want to I'm just kind of interested to see what this goes in a minute and 18 seconds. Totally something I could see in a movie like that. And now this is audio with just instrumental. That fucking ending. Holy shit.
Ending was creepy.
That was good. Let's see what this one does.
Wow.
I mean, that's fantastic. Like that
Wow.
that makes up for all the other ones, because that would have been as well solid for that type of,
Yeah. Keep that one. That one's a good.
Yeah, that one's
There's a lot there. There's a lot in that.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's 100% a keeper, and we'll do all the stuff to make sure they keep it as well. But that's what I mean. Like you use them for their strengths, not their weaknesses. And there's a lot of ways, and it's a very multi-tool environment. Like I would always recommend Magnifique, just because if you need to do finishing work, if there are things you need to add, it's very powerful stuff. They also have a style transfer. So you could do things like change it over from either cinematic to cartoon, or from cinematic to noir, or, whatever you want to do. And it's really powerful stuff. It's really, really good. And that's the value in using different tools and multiple tools in an environment, is to try and get the best possible outcome that you can.
Well, it's almost like, and this is where this tool could be kind of handy, is like, let's say you filmed a short, or like you said, you had a musical you wrote in high school. Like, there's kind of a way to kind of have some of this come to life, or frame it in a different way, to see it in another style. You know,
Mhm.
all kinds of options to just kind of like push your creative in a different vein, or for whatever purposes you'd want. But just very, very useful, I feel like, in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, I mean, even just to try and do what we were just doing, if we wanted to take our regular Arthur that we just made, we take that as the input, and then the reference. Let's see if I got something crazy going on in any of my stuff. Oh yeah, so this is one of the artists I know. Crypto to College. I work with him. His name is Neil. There's a model that he has out that I really, really like, and I'm making a music video off it as well. But it's a very wild style, and so it's like king in his court, and then the style strength will go real high. Portrait, we'll do that. Standard, yeah, that's fine. No beautifier, blah blah blah. Okay, and let's go transform. So this is going to take the image that we use to make this one, and it's going to try and input the style of this other image onto it. And so it's one of those things, like, if you wanted a certain type of aesthetic that you didn't get out of your generations, and you have all your images, you could always change it. And then the same thing if you shot something. If you shot something and it looks a certain way, and you want to try and do some things with it, like a dream sequence, an alternate type of reality sequence, you could always do this with PNGs in a PNG sequence. You could always try and generate it. There's a million different ways to do it. And as these tools come to Adobe, it's going to just get more integrated. So here's the image as it was before we upscaled it.
Love
And then
that.
here's what it added. And
Wow.
now this is, I don't know why he's at a bar. Because the style image is at a bar. So that's why it took a little bit of that. And I only put king in his court. I didn't really do the prompting the way I should. But yeah, so you could see that it really took that image. And at the very least, the king himself, like, this is a very, very interesting type of look. And even if you wanted to tweak this, like, there's not much you'd have to do to really get this out of it. And yeah, style transfer is absolutely amazing. So, you anything you want to transfer from one to the other, Pixar, any of that stuff. It's really, really potent stuff. And then, that's the thing. It's with every one of these tools, it's all about how you use it. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What a great evening of storytelling and AI deep dive to get a better understanding of what's out there, what's available, how we can use it, why we were going to use it or not use it. So yeah, that was excellent stuff, Chris. Yeah, from us at Block of Horror, feel free, if you're on this. I think let's use what do we want to use tonight for some blood coin giveaway in the Discord. Pop in, open a ticket, and let's do medieval spelt the right way. I think it's appropriate. So if you got to Google it or GBT it, as the kids say these days, spell it right, or there might be punishment. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's it from us. Obviously be sure to follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and obviously follow us on Twitter. And yeah, any final thoughts from you, Chris, before we close it out?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow we're going to be having a discussion on Twitter at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Twitter Spaces. We'll be just kind of discussing AI tools and what it means that Adobe is getting into this game in the video sense, and what the future of what an artist would look like in the video field. So that's at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days. And yeah, just generally, like, try stuff out. It's take lead from what I showed you. Just see what works for you, because music, images, video, it's all very different depending on what you need. So thank you everyone for coming to see us play.
Yep. Love it. Thanks, Chris. And thanks everybody for showing up. And we'll see you next time. And we'll give you some updates along the way. Thank you for tuning in and participating. Remember to follow us on X, subscribe on YouTube, join our Discord headquarters, where we have a community waiting to connect, create, and collaborate. Our 3 C's with no fees.